Hey everyone, today we're going to talk about one of my favorite muscles known as your hip flexor, scientific name the iliopsoas. So this is a very common muscle to get tight in runners, but also desk workers, and overall we're driving, we're using our hip flexors a lot, and it's responsible for this action. So if you're experiencing any tightness and having difficulties feeling your balance when you're walking, or just any back pains, this muscle can actually be a culprit to this. Now, one thing that we'll talk about a lot is how it's connected to your diaphragm. It actually shares tissues because of its connections. It starts in the thigh bone, the femur, in the inner aspect. It attaches to your pelvis, which will then lead up into the connection it has into your spine. And it attaches right behind your diaphragm. So these tissues can actually be connected and affect the way that you breathe. So one thing we're going to look at here is not just the simple stretch, but how we can incorporate our breathing to help make this more effective. So you may have seen this stretch. It's known as your hip flexor or psoas stretch, where you take a high knee. So once we're in this high knee position, we're going to drift our hips forward. Now, a couple tips here, and I'll get a side angle, is you can tend to have this anterior pelvic tilt, which is when you have this arching of your low back. We actually want to keep our pelvis underneath us because this arching will actually shorten the muscle, making it where you're not getting as an effective of a stretch. So keeping the pelvis underneath you, you're then going to drift your body weight down and forward a bit, keeping your balance on this front knee while also making sure you're feeling a stretch in the front of this back hip. So you should feel that. Once you're in this position, you can do multiple things here. You can hold and just practice your diaphragm breathing. Now, to take this even further, we can add some rotation. I like to bring my arms up in genie position, and we can do a rotation here. Take a nice diaphragm breath, and you should be able to feel this expansion in the rib cage. It will actually change the way this muscle feels when you hold this position. And we can take it, exhale as you get back to center, breathe in, rotating to the other side. You can feel the change of that muscle and also add your breath. Now, adding this breath should give you a sensation of your ribs and your core actually expanding when you inhale, and then your core engaging at the end when you exhale. Another way to do this, you can actually bring your hands up and do some lateral bending here. So with the hands in the air, tilt to one side, take your diaphragm breath. Nice slow breathing here to really make this stretch more effective. You can tilt to the other side. And now you're not only getting a stretch in your hip flexor, but you can also feel a stretch and engagement of your core and diaphragm. So I'll do the other side, and you can do this with me. Again, we're going to get tall, high kneel. Make sure your pelvis is tucked underneath you. Doesn't need to be forced, but you don't want your pelvis to fall forward or be too relaxed in the abdomen area. Keep that tilt, lean forward and down, take your breath. Now I focus my exhale and emphasize this so that you can see this breathing can actually get your core to engage, which is always great when you're doing stretches. You can also feel this stretch. Right? Get your rotation with a nice breath. Exhale as you return to center. Take another breath in. Feel the change in your ribs, feel the change in your hip flexor. Exhale, return to center. You can bring the hands up. Right? You can even kind of lean forward a little bit more, look up towards the ceiling, take a breath here. We can do a side bend, take your breath here. Exhale as you return. Other side. And return to center. If you do this stretch in this way, just spending about a minute can actually activate a lot more muscles, get your ribs involved, make sure your diaphragm is activating, and a much more effective stretch on your hip flexor. I hope this helps. Give it a try. Let me know what you think. It might be a little more challenging than you think, or it might be easy, but gives you a chance to release your hip flexor while also practicing your diaphragm breathing. And with that, I hope you have a breathtaking day.